What it was, this place, my parents ran as a swim club. I think they bought it probably in the early 70s. And they ran it for probably 5 or 6 years. They got a divorce. Then my mom had it. I think we ran it for a year, and then she sold it land contract. And then I think they had it probably 6 years. They moved to Florida. We got it back when I was a freshman in high school. And we ran it for probably another 2 or 3 years, but it never made any money. And we pretty much ran it without insurance. And it only made like $15,000 a year or something. So it shut down, and we tried to sell this place for probably the next 8 or 10 years, and nobody really, because like everything was in such bad shape, nobody wanted to buy it as a pool, and it was kind of goofy for like anything else. So my situation back then, like I started in a tent, like a 10 by 10 screen tent, and then like it was funny because like a storm would roll through and the tent would fall down. So my grandpa and I would put the tent back up because he's the one that helped me when I first started. Pretty simple, just in high school. My last name is Augenstein, so people called me Aug Dog. And then just threw a Dyes on the end. And pretty easy, really. But it's funny because when we used to telemarket when we first began, we would try to call up these screen printers, you know, be like, yeah, this is Jason from Aug Dog Dyes, and your dog died. You know, it's like, kind of wish I would have chosen a name like Rainbow Tye Dyes where people would get it. But most of them have some history here. You know, maybe they lived here and then they moved far away to Fairborn, you know, stuff like that. But yeah, pretty much everybody's from here except for a couple people. I think Harmon's been here about 10 years, Gunner's probably about 8. I mean, it's an awesome job just because you have full medical, full dental, pension profit sharing. I mean, a lot of stuff that most of the big companies don't even offer. And, you know, the environment is just, it's like a clubhouse. It's like going to a clubhouse to work, really. I mean, you know, there's times you have to get pretty serious and work hard, but it's just, you know, you sit there and just rip on each other and fight over the music and, you know, just stuff like that. Kind of, almost like you're hanging out with your buddies, except you're not drinking beer. So.
Don't mock me. When Dave gets back, are you going to play the movie game?
Sure.
The movie game is where someone like Dave will name a movie. And Dave, do you want to play or do you just want to say the name of the movie?
Let's say the name of the movie.
And so what happens is, say he says Ghostbusters 2. Hippie will then say an actor from Ghostbusters 2, like Sigourney Weaver. And then now I either got to name somebody else from Ghostbusters 2. Or another Sigourney Weaver movie.
Rick Moranis.
And then we keep going until we can't name anymore. Whoever's the last person to be able to name something is the trying to stump the person. It's the stump game. So go ahead, Dave. Are you ready?
The movie I most recently saw, Rescue Dog.
I've never seen that.
Christian Bale in that?
No. Christian Bale. Batman Begins.
Morgan Freeman.
Driving Mistake.
Shawshank Redemption.
Tim Robbins.
Nothing to Lose.
Word Lawrence.
Crap.
You know, we just lived in a little, you know, like in these houses, little ranch houses. And I remember my mom always wanted to move down here because, I mean, it's just a beautiful area. And we had a little concession, which was actually pretty much underneath where we are right now, with a flat roof that was half rotten. You know, we would come up here and just kind of stand around and look and think, God, that'd be so neat to have a house up here. You know, that was like the big fantasy. This place is kind of like a nature reserve almost. I mean, just it seems like if there's like geese or ducks that are hurt, they'll hang out here and we feed them, and then they eventually get better and take off. But peacocks arrived about 4 months ago. Just all of a sudden we saw these weird looking birds walking around. My grandpa, who's 91, loves them. Talks to them, choo 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 choo. Oh, it's great. He's all over them. I think they're not adults yet, but I mean their physical size probably is. But but definitely because their necks have changed. Like when they first got here, they were pretty, they weren't real flashy, and now they have that real bright neck, you know, that like bluish green. How old was I? Probably like 18, 19, and we called it Aug Fest, and we had shirts made, and someone said, hey man, you know, I thought, yeah, Aug Fest 89 or something, that'd be so cool. And then someone's like, hey, you should make tie dyes. And I had no idea, like I'd never owned a tie dye and never made a tie dye. So we found one guy that knew how to do it, and we made them, and we sold them for like $5 each, and paid for a couple kegs of beer and stuff. And then that was kind of how it first started. And then at the time I was going to Miami of Ohio, and I ended up joining a fraternity, and they would always get shirts for just really stupid reasons. So then I decided to start trying to sell the tie dyes to the fraternities and sororities. And then eventually I figured out it was easier to go to the screen printer, who would then sell the shirts to the fraternities and sororities. And because I would drive around, like I would go to like Illinois. I mean, I would drive like 5-6 hours and then walk around these campuses for hours, you know, and it was horrible. It sucked so bad. So once I learned that transition to actually go sell wholesale to the people and they sell it to the other people, then things kind of started taking off. So in a nutshell, I guess I moved down here probably about 12 years ago. And as you see, it's a sprawling complex now, but in the beginning it was just a couple rooms that we used, and then it got a little bigger, and then, well, actually, I was gonna say, after the screen tent, my grandpa lent me $1,000 to buy a 12x16 shed. He actually co-signed on a loan for me at the bank, so I could get this shed for $1,000. So it went from a tent to a shed, and then, you know, over the winter we would work in my house and stuff a lot. It was just a little ranch house, and eventually we moved down here, and I built the house on top, and then, you know, like all the work and stuff we started doing downstairs. There was pretty much nothing down there. It was because it was just, the pool was there like over the like summers, so I mean there was no heat, no water. Essentially, it was just a couple old bathrooms. It was a dump. So I mean we did a lot of work. Really changed the landscape around here.
Close the door like this. Hold it closed until Caleb cries. Sometimes, but not all the time. These shirts just ain't dry. And we just put some new ones in, and they'll dry.
The asshole washed out too many shirts.
The bag spinner? My brother actually did. No, you know what? My grandpa came up with the cage idea, but like he had he wanted to hire a guy to sit there and spin it all day like a hamster. But my brother's the one that figured out the actual you know, electric motor part of it. Yeah, but that's and I think they all got that idea from there's a thing called Clubhouse 22 a long time ago. Big guy dressed as a white dog, and people would send in their name and address, and he would spin this thing. It was huge. It was kind of like almost as big as that. He'd spin that, and then to draw someone's name. So that was kind of how the concept came from. I pretty much have this business whipped on how to do it. I mean, and we've kind of reached a point where we're kind of straight. I mean, I think we did 1.4 million in sales last year, and we're probably right on par to do that again. It's really tough to get that any higher, it seems like. Seems like those guys like to throw ideas into my mind, kind of like you get donuts if you sell 1,200 shirts in a day, stuff like that. But it's been several years, but they love it. Free lunch Friday. We're getting pizza today. We're getting pizza today. So it's worth it for the little excitement I can bring to them. We started like maybe doing like golf outings and stuff. Well, no, it was a Reds trip. We went down to Reds game, rented a bus and all that. people had a really good time. And then we started doing the golf outings. We've got the bowling outing coming up Saturday. Oh, yeah. What I do on the side, kind of buying houses that are foreclosed on, stuff like that. And then I have my brother and my sister that help me. So we fix them up, make them look really nice, and then resell them. And then I have a bunch of rentals that I've been working on, which T-Bone lives in one of those. But it was cool with the Obama stuff, how I had some vacancies and they had some places to move into, and I didn't charge them anything, just kind of a donation. You hate to have a vacancy because you lose money every month. So even though you're not making money on them, it's just nice to see people in there and they're real appreciative and stuff like that. So there's definitely a rift. I mean, because like for a while we would bring up politics and yell, and I'd end up calling people bad names. So now the rules, you can't talk politics, so it's been working out a lot better. You know, I'd put out like 2 or 3 Obama signs, and they'd be out there for maybe a day or two, and then they'd be gone, and then I'd buy more. I'd put more up, they'd be gone, and then just finally just got fed up. And, you know, we just came up with an idea to put a sign up there. And I was, you know, I didn't know how mild or harsh it should be. I was a little paranoid putting Enan loves Obama, but everybody here that doesn't live here said, oh yeah, that's a great idea, do that, do that. So it must have been a Friday night or Saturday night. Then I went up there, and it was the top that Enan loves was spray painted over, and then they put a big N in front of the Obama. You know those clever guys. No Obama. That's why we planted all the pine trees around the outside. Trying to hide down here like a cult, almost. Waco.